Will the Miami Hurricanes make it to the ACC championship game? Honestly, I don't know. But what I do know is that, believe it or not, it is possible. What's going on, Canes fans? Now, before we dive into this video, I have one quick question for you. Are you subscribed to this channel? If not, why not? It's 100% free, doesn't cost you a thing. If you're having trouble finding it, it's a big red button down below. You can pause the video, scroll down, real big red, looks just like this and says subscribe on it. Doesn't cost you a thing to do it, but only do it if you love college football, especially Miami Hurricanes football. Now also, a quick disclaimer for this video. Am I saying that Miami will make it to the ACC championship game? No. Am I saying that if they miraculously did make it, that they would be able to go toe-to-toe with Clemson? I have no idea. I don't know. What I'm telling you is that Miami could potentially make it if all of these things line up. So let's just get into it. I'm going to put a graphic up on the screen here. I don't claim this image in any way. Now, I did remake it. You guys have probably seen it floating around on Facebook and Twitter. This one looks a little bit different because I tried to clean it up and make the image larger. So how Miami can reach the ACC title game. First off, we need a full lunar eclipse. We need all of the planets to align. Nah, I'm just kidding, but it does seem that way for Miami fans. It seems impossible, right? But these things would need to happen. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I'm going to put it up here on the screen. So study this for a moment. If you need to pause it, I fully understand because a lot of different things need to happen. But I'm going to leave this image up on the screen for the next few minutes while we talk about it. That way you don't have to look at my face. You can look at this image. So Miami needs at least one loss from 4 conference teams. So right off the bat, we're going to go left to right and just dive into it. So Virginia must lose to Virginia Tech. We can also dive in and maybe talk about if we think each one of them will happen or won't happen. Put that down in the comment section below. But I'm just going to run through it real quick first. So that means, yes, that Virginia Tech must beat Virginia. And then Virginia Tech must also lose to both Georgia Tech and Pitt. Now that means that Pitt, yes, must beat Virginia Tech. And then Pitt, now pay attention to this, must lose to either North Carolina or Boston College. So they don't have to lose both of those games, but they do have to lose at least one of them. And then that means for North Carolina, they have to lose to either Pitt or NC State. And yes, again, that's not losing to both of them. That means they must lose to one of them. Now, really what I think, I'm going to go ahead and dive into kind of how I feel about this for a moment. Some of you are still kind of scratching your head and you're thinking, Coop, but what about this and a tie with this? And as far as I know, I've sat back and I've thought. I've ran this scenario through my head. I've said, but what if this? But then this happens and then they lost it. I'm pretty sure this is accurate. No matter how you look at it, I think if this scenario plays out, and of course, Miami takes care of business. Go ahead and get that out of the way. We know that has to happen. But I believe that if this happens, yes, Miami would face Clemson in the ACC championship game. Now, a couple of things really stand out to me in this. Biggest thing is the fact that Virginia Tech has to lose to Georgia Tech and Pitt. I could see Pitt beating Virginia Tech, but I just don't know that I see Georgia Tech beating Virginia Tech. Now, that is a home game, so it's in Atlanta, but I don't know. That one's really kind of questionable. And then also Virginia Tech beating Virginia. It seems like a long shot to me. Now, the thing is, as Miami fans, the reason this is frustrating is because if we had taken care of business, we wouldn't even have to be having this conversation, right? I think the loss that hurt us the most is probably going to be the Georgia Tech game for multiple reasons. It's a big reason why we're in this scenario, and also just because we shouldn't have taken a loss there to begin with. Now, a couple of other things here. There's so much to discuss in the comment section, and I want you guys to get into all of it. Let me know what you think about this scenario. Let me know if you think it's possible, if it's not possible. Let me know if you even want to face Clemson in the ACC championship, because that's another talking point for this. A lot of Miami fans have said, why hope for this crazy scenario to work out when we've already not had the best season that we really could have had, and go probably get beat down by Clemson? I'm just repeating what a lot of Miami fans are saying. Why do that, right? When we could try to be better next year and go in with a full head of steam, potentially undefeated in the Coastal, and then actually have a good game against Clemson and have a shot at the playoffs. Now, some people are going to say, Coop, that's ridiculous. You always want to be shooting for the stars and trying to beat as many teams as possible, and that includes making it to the ACC championship and hoping for a miracle against Clemson. Maybe we surprise Clemson. I don't know. They're not unbeatable. So just to give you a rundown on the conference records if this scenario did play out. I don't think I'm going to have an image up on the screen or anything, so I'm just going to look at a piece of paper in front of me. So ACC records for these teams, if this happened, would be Miami 5-3, Virginia 5-3, Pitt 5-3, Virginia Tech 4-4, and North Carolina 4-4. Duke and Georgia Tech, y'all aren't even in it. Let's be real. So that puts Miami, Virginia, and Pitt all at 5-3, and Miami beat Virginia and Miami beat Pitt. Now again, that's assuming that Virginia Tech beats Virginia, and that's assuming that Pitt beats Virginia Tech, and everything happens that we just talked about. So in this scenario, yes, it is possible that Miami could go to the ACC championship against Clemson because, well, we all know it's going to be Clemson. And this just shows that in the Coastal, you seriously never know. The Coastal is such a mess that you can start out dropping your first couple of games and then still potentially be in the talks at the end of the season. Now, as I said, this is not me saying that they will make it. This is me saying that if all of this stuff lines up, that they could. So my prediction, because let's be honest, I don't want to just ride the fence here, and I don't want to say, you guys tell me what you think, and then I'm not going to tell you what I think. I think, personally, it would be a miracle for this to happen. Have crazier things happen? Absolutely. They happen all the time, especially in the game of college football. But I really just don't think that Virginia Tech loses to Georgia Tech and Pitt. And even though Virginia looks like they were overhyped, I don't know that they lose to Virginia Tech. So me personally, I don't think this scenario plays out. And it is a shame, again, that it seems like Miami potentially is picking up some steam and things are starting to click for us. Hopefully we can take and carry that momentum into next season. I actually think that, could we maybe give Clemson a run for their money? Maybe for part of the game. I don't think long term, I don't think we can compete with them all 4 quarters. And go ahead, and it's fine if you want to get upset with me, but I'm just trying to be realistic. Can Miami win any football game that they play in? Absolutely. I've always said that Miami always has a chance to win every game that they play in. I don't think that Miami would be able to defeat Clemson if we did make it. And I think that could potentially hurt the momentum and the morale of this team and possibly impact momentum going into next season, because then I'm not really sure how the bowl games and stuff would shape up. So I'm not saying that I don't want Miami to make it, but I'm saying my prediction is that this scenario won't play out, and that even if it did, I don't think that we would defeat Clemson. We would maybe give them a run for their money for the first quarter and maybe the second quarter, or maybe we go down a little bit and then we fight back in the third, but then they run away in the fourth, some kind of scenario like that. But really what I want to know is what you guys think. Do you think that this scenario could possibly play out? Would you even want it to play out? If it did, what do you think would happen against Clemson? But this was just a short video talking about how Miami could possibly make it to the ACC title game. Bye weeks suck, man. I mean, 3 of them this season. I feel like it kills the momentum. I feel like that it doesn't really allow us to stay locked in, right? So I'm not a fan of the 3rd bye week. A lot of people say, but Coop, that means we can rest, we can relax, we can get healed up. It gives us an extra week to prepare for the next opponent. I get it, but 3 bye weeks is 2 bye weeks too many for me. I can maybe even handle 2, but 3's just, nah. It ain't working for me. I don't like it. But again, leave your comments down below. If you're not subscribed, I'd really appreciate it if you do that. Remember though, guys, we are all one big happy college football family, but at the end of the day, I gotta say, it's always better when you get to rep the U. Coach Coop, peace. Peace out.